Now let's get a bit more complicated. So now we're gonna come down here. I'm going to talk about this menu down in your bottom left corner. First here is your number of tracks. Then you have easements. We'll get into those in a bit. Your follow track button, your gradient tool, snap to terrain, snap to track, and manual junctions. All of which we will hit in this part. So let's start with number of tracks. We want to, let's say, we've done single tracks. Single tracks can be boring. 2 tracks allows you to, have more trains on a line, such as at like stations or yards. So let's place 2 tracks. We're going to come down here to the corner, remove the 1, and hit 2. Enter. Now you see there's 2 yellow arrows. Now, you see, yellow lines being straight, so that's 2 pieces of straight track, curved, left and right. If you go off to the right, bam. Now there are 2 pieces of track. I am going to turn off the follow section selection because we don't want to go all the way out there. Now you can see 2 tracks. You can also go straight, as you can see here. So that's that. So I'm going to clear up my space a bit here. To do that, to select multiple things at once, click and hold with the left mouse button and drag outwards, and you can select a large area at one time, hit the delete key, and it is all gone. Alright, clean slate. What is that? Okay. Clean slate out here. So now we're going to talk about grades. So down here, bottom left corner, the angle looking thingy. I'm not going to talk about what grades are. I'm not going to talk about exactly what they are. Basically, they are, it's a ratio, whatever value stick in here. That is how many units the track is going to rise in 100 of the same units. So if I put a 1 into here, the track is going to rise 1 meter every 100 meters. If I were to put a 10 in, the track is going to rise 10 meters every 100 meters. So here is a 1% grade, 5%, stop it, 10%, and so on. You see each one gets higher and higher. Next, we have a snap to terrain, which is essentially it's not going to look any different than, let's get that back down to 0 to flat. If I were to tick that box, you guys aren't going to see anything different right now because the land is just flat, but so it's going to be at whatever height the terrain is at, and then wherever I put the end of the track, whatever terrain that is at, that is going to be the terrain that the track ends at. I will show you guys that later when we get into terrain, but for now, that's what it is. Next up, snap to track. We'll get to that in a bit when we do switches and junctions and turnouts and stuff. Same thing with the manual junctions. But now we're going to do easements. So you have a straight piece of easements are what railroads use to ease a train from a straight piece of track into a curve. Because if a train is going at speed and that suddenly enters a sharp curve, the cars can derail and lean and fall to the outside of the curve. That's very, very bad for railroads. So instead of suddenly turning a train, it's going to ease the train into a corner. It's like turning a car. If you just crank the wheel, say, to the right, the car is probably going to roll to the left. But if you slowly turn the wheel more and more and more and more, easing the car into the turn, the car will turn nice and easy. So to do easements, you're going to tick the circle, the swirly circle, and you'll get this options. So you'll see where your options are to put track. Obviously, we can go straight ahead, and then it gives us our options where we can go from there, or we can immediately start into a corner. And it's only going to let us go so far. We're going to go off to the right. It'll only let us go so far. It's going to let us ease into that corner. And again, you can see it gives us options as to where we can place track next. So we're going to go with that. And so let's say we want it to be a slight curve off to the right. So then we'll ease it back towards straight. And as you can see, we can now place another straight piece of track, or ease it off to the left more. One note, it's not very common to see a right hand directly into a left hand turn, because again, that can create lateral movements that are not nice to a train, going from right straight to a left. So there's usually a section of straight track between curves of two different directions, I should say. So now let's say we want to make the turn tighter. So we're going to repeat the process, but instead of easing it back towards a straight curve, we're going to keep going right. Let me zoom out here for you a bit. So you can see that purple line. That is going to show me when I want to ease back into a straight curve, or not a straight curve, there's no such thing. When I want to ease back to going straight, that is going to show me what direction that straight's going to be. So let's say I want the straight to go up towards the top in the middle of the screen. So if I were to, put it out here, that's going to go off too far to the right. Back here, too far to the left. So I'm going to hit that. That's where I want my value. And I'm just going to ease it back to straight. And now I can head off in that direction. And now you've got a nice, easy curve. Looks a little funky because I do have a straight section of track in here. So that's easements. All right. Next, we are going to come up to the top. I'm going to come to the top menu for now. So we're going to leave the bottom menu. I'm going to untick easements. We don't need it. And I'm going to, so this top menu here, this top row is going to be the same no matter which menu you're in. As you can see, the three different main menus, tool menus, the bottom two rows change, but this top row is going to be the same. You have a copy, a paste. I'm not sure what the display button does. This is your delete button. The delete key on your keyboard does the exact same thing. This is a measure, so you'd click, and then you'd click with your left mouse button, and drag. Do not let go, otherwise it'll stop measuring. You can see how long something is. So let's say that track over there, I want to see how long that is. I select here, and I hold, and I drag to the end. Now I can see down here on the bottom, measurement 408.51 meters. This can be helpful when you're judging distances for like signals or signs, warning signs, fences off the right of way, a whole bunch of different things that you might need an exact measurement for. Then you've got your undo and redo buttons. So, oh, whoops, I don't want that piece of track there. Undo. Ah, no, I do want that piece of track there. Redo. Your Control-Z on the keyboard, it should work. Right-click to exit. Control-Z on the keyboard undoes. Control-Y redoes. But in order to use the keyboard shortcuts, you have to not have anything selected. And again, to unselect, right-click, and it will clear any selections that you have.